Good morning. Balancing business wants with customer needs. Today, I wanted to share with you some research that we've done about consumer preferences and opinions of e-commerce directors, how sometimes they don't align, sometimes they do, and really to help shape thinking around what consumers are really looking for when they're shopping online. I am Business Development Manager for Trizons. We are a Magento solution partner, and we do this research to help inform our clients of ongoing roadmaps as they build out their Magento instance. So as an overview, these were the questions we wanted to answer. What makes people buy? What makes them not buy? Delivery methods, payment options, are these really important as other studies would let us believe? What do we think retailers should be focused on? So when we go in and see a retailer, what should we be advising them that are the features their customers really want? And are those roadmaps really aligned? So the study included 1,000 UK-based online consumers, had to be active consumers, so had to have shopped in the last 3 months. And we took a range of ages, right from 16 to 18-year-olds, all the way to 66 plus. 600 women, 400 men. And we spoke to 100 e-commerce directors. They had to have one physical store, a trading website, and be trading 2 million plus in the UK. So what did we start to learn about our consumers? So the average person spends just over 6,000 online each year. Men spend more than women, spread across a variety of sectors, and a pretty even split between men and women across big ticket items. There's travel, electronics, furniture, and then fashion, sportswear, gifts, games. We know that people prefer to use their smartphone for browsing, less so for buying, and that was consistent across females and males. We found them transitioning to laptops and desktops to complete the purchase, but less inclined to actually do the browsing on those devices. And the most popular time of day for shopping, between 6 and 10 p.m. in the evening. Men slightly higher between 6 and 8, women slightly higher between 8 and 10, but certainly the peak between 6 and 10 across both genders. Frequency of shopping, no real split. So male and females probably shop, according to our 1,000 consumers, as regularly as each other. Very active, nearly 2/3 had shopped online in the last week. And as I said at the start, these people had to have shopped online within the last 3 months to take part. Women spent 14% more time online, but the men spent more in less time. And primarily because of those big ticket items, they were the ones paying typically for things like travel, which was pushing their average spend up. 26 to 45-year-olds are the most active. 71% had shopped online in the last week. And also they were the biggest spenders, so £728 per month on average in that age group. If we look at the 66 and over, right down at 269. But I think really interestingly, the 16 to 18-year-olds, £585 a month they were spending. More than the 46 to 65s, you've got younger age groups now spending a lot more time and spending a lot more online. When we look at shopping across verticals, there was a pretty even split between all the age groups in proportion. So in the middle, we've got our biggest spending group, but across all the sectors that we asked them to indicate how much they spend each month, there was a relatively even split, nothing too noticeable between different verticals. So now we'd understood a bit about what our consumers were. We asked them a load of questions about what they like when it comes to shopping online, what makes them go to a particular retailer, how they want to hear from a retailer, and the sort of things that they want to see retailers doing. Probably no surprise, but what do consumers most value about online? 80% indicated they can shop anytime, anywhere. That was their biggest preference. No split between the genders at all. Next highest, finding the best prices, major reason for shopping online. Speed of service, maybe slightly surprisingly, 38%, but down the bottom towards the preferences in terms of what they indicated to us. And how do they like to keep in touch? Now, this surprised us a little because we see lots of retailers doing lots of new things, lots of innovative things, but the top choice amongst all our respondents, over 50%, as their first choice said that the reason they wanted to hear from retailers and they wanted to buy as a result of an email. When we combined all the results across the board, it was ranked 1. Next preference was an interactive online catalogue, coming in at 41% combined. If we go down, a lot of people talk about social media, ranked 6. Surprisingly, there was a few that put telephone call. We're not quite sure why they would want that. And how do consumers find offers? How do they find retailers they want to shop with? So again, email from a retailer positioned really near the top. Search engine, linked to the fact that consumers want to find the best prices. They would go via the search engine. They'd hear about retailers from an email. These were the ways they wanted to find their offers. Retailers' social media, when it came to offers, very low down. We see a lot of retailers investing a lot in social media, and we're going to see shortly how the priorities of e-com directors are aligned with these. And there's an interesting difference of opinion between what e-commerce directors are doing and what the consumers would actually like. But there are variances, significant variances by age. So the orange bars indicate retailer social media. So youngest age group, 15% of them, that was what they preferred. As we go through the age groups, that bar comes down and down to, as you may expect, those 66 and over, very, very small part of what they were looking for. But the younger generations are relying on social media to start interacting with brands. And what we're doing at the moment is we're repeating this research because what we want to do is trend things year on year. So based on the early results in the second phase of the research that we're doing, that's actually grown to about 25% now amongst the 16 to 18-year-olds. And how are retailers promoting offers? So this was where we asked e-commerce directors, what's part of your marketing plan? What's important to you in terms of getting your offers in front of customers? So we've got things like SEO, paid search, affiliates, email, in-store promotions, print advertising, and social media. Again, social media coming out very high. Just over 85% of retailers indicated that social media was a way for them to promote their offers. Print advertising, 35% of retailers that we asked said that was vitally important, but only 9% of consumers wanted to see a print advert for a product and see that as a way that they were going to buy. Over here, going back to email, which came out earlier, one of the easiest and cheapest ways of getting communications out there, over 10% of retailers told us it wasn't important as part of their marketing strategy. It wasn't something they were looking at, they didn't have time to segment, they didn't have time to personalize emails, but yet 77% of consumers value that as the way to get their offers through. And then we asked the customers, what do you find most important in terms of features? And we gave them a whole list of options, pretty standard features in most cases. These were then ranked based on gender, and the percentage of respondents they could choose multiple choice here. How many said that this was most important to them? Number 1, clear, easy to navigate website on any device. Can they find the product they're looking for easily? Number 2 and 3, effective search engine. That's an on-site search engine. Again, linked to trying to find products easily online. Access to best prices, partly through search engines and partly on the site itself. They viewed that as a good reason an important reason for them to buy online. And free delivery. You'll see that range of delivery options, lower down. Click and collect, much lower down. The most important thing that came out in terms of the delivery options was, I'll have it free. I'm not as worried about when I'm actually going to get it. And then we split it. When we look at it by age, it brings out some interesting variances. So our younger consumers, the bars, the red, the green, and the orange bars, indicate to us that personalized content's more important for a younger generation. For the older generations, not as important. Your things like Search engine, best prices, clear, easy to navigate website, no real variance by age. They're all sort of 90% upwards in terms of importance. Personalized discount offers, again, younger age groups wanted an offer that was relevant to them. Older customers, a bit more time on their hands, weren't as worried about having the offer. They would happily look around, providing it was easy to find what they were looking for. Click and collect, younger consumers, more interested than older consumers. And live chat had some significant variances as well. So then we asked consumers, these are the things you like, but what are the things that you want? What are the things you don't see? If you were speaking to the retailer, what would you be asking them to put in for you? So the first question was, what stops you shopping online? And some various responses in here. And as you'd expect, returns difficult to make, can't try the product on. But if you combine, account could be hacked with stored card details, both security and trust. There's about 70% of respondents that highlight that as a key reason why they wouldn't want to shop online. So it's the fear of losing their card details, losing their personal information. When they're on a website, do they trust the checkout? Is it quick? Does it crash? All those things were playing on people's minds in terms of this would be a reason I didn't want to shop online. In terms of buying in store, clothes, as you would expect from people being able to try them on, came out highest in terms of they would rather go in store and buy that, shortly followed by furniture, health and beauty, accessories, gifts, those sort of things, much more inclined to buy those online. And we said, in terms of the features and functionality, when you come across a website, you're looking to buy something, what puts you off? What stops you? What makes you abandon? What makes you leave that website? Some interesting things here. So at the top, you'll see across all the age groups, hard to find the right product. That goes back to logical product groups, easy to navigate. Is the search working? Interestingly, there's some really significant variance between the age groups here, because our older age groups really wanted simple websites. They wanted it, no bells and whistles. They wanted a really simple website, easy to find what they were looking for. Almost, you've got to put that product in front of them. Younger age groups, not so. Website slow, variance is there. Older people weren't bothered. Less than 10% of those were worried about site speed. In our 18 to 45-year-olds, 35% of them wanted a fast website. And product reviews. This was really important to the older people. It comes back to the trust thing. What came out of the research was older people were slightly more skeptical about shopping online. So they were looking for trust in the checkout, trust in terms of reviews, people validating their purchase. And that was much more important to our older age groups. And then we said, overall, where do you think people can improve? So we gave them a few set options, and more sorting filter options came out. Over a third of people didn't feel that websites allowed them to sort the product group in the way they wanted, didn't have the filters they were looking for to be able to refine their product search. Reviews, you'll see more consumer reviews and more professional reviews. So the first one relates to sites with no reviews. The last one was a question around, do you trust the reviews that you see online? And a lot of the feedback was that they didn't feel they were true reviews. They didn't feel that they gave them the information. They felt that they were vetted to always look good. So the more professional reviews came out because they didn't actually believe those sites that had reviews, that they were giving them the trust that they were looking for. Personalization was another theme, came out in third. So that goes back to the content, the offers. These are the things that they were looking for. So when we went through this, we we try to draw some conclusions because with our clients we work with, we take this research to them and help build a roadmap, and we try and steer what they're looking to do. And the first conclusion we made was a lot of people are focused on really complex things or doing something really different. And actually what came out of this piece of research was there's some really simple basics to get right that focused on would increase conversion of existing customers. And we see lots of retailers talking about increasing traffic. But actually, when we do the maths and we look at a small shift in conversion rate by doing these things, generally it's worth more money converting those existing users at a better rate than spending a lot of money on acquisition trying to get new traffic in. And we asked this question to our clients. Have you asked your customers what they would like to see? Now, that may seem a slightly odd question to ask, and the way we built this in was in loyalty programs where you have people signed up to your loyalty program. Why not ask them, or do focus groups? How many retailers have actually asked their customers what they want to see from their website? Or is it all assumed? Is it because there's a lot of noise in the industry and everybody says that this is the thing to do? So we think it's really important to ask. Search engine optimization, that's paid search, natural search. We know that that's where customers are looking for their offers. Email campaigns. I still never understand why retailers send one email to everybody on their database. There's still lots of retailers that do that. We know that segmenting your campaign, personalizing the offers, taking the time to send a good email campaign is money well spent. And that's what consumers were telling us, that they liked emails that were relevant. Extended SSL certificates, trust icons in checkout. Again, stuff we probably talked about a few years ago, but still not there in a lot of cases. And these are really simple things that consumers were saying were things that put them off, things that they would abandon their basket. If they got to the checkout, a number of them noted, although they don't understand the technology, they would talk about address bar going green. They know that's good. They don't really understand the technology or how that happens, but they know the address bar going green is a good thing. If they see icons they recognize saying that this site has been tested, this site has passed, again, they may not recognize the brand of the logo, but it says that someone's checking the security of that site. On-site search, I want to find products easily, I want to be able to sort them, I want to be able to filter them. Is your search doing as well as it could on site? And back to my original point, focus on increasing conversion of existing users. You already have customers, so make sure you're getting all these basics right before you go off on campaigns to add more traffic or develop lots of complex new features, because if you don't put the simple things in, then you could be spending a lot of money on advanced functionality that actually isn't going to deliver the return you're looking for. And the other key thing that came out of this was we expected variances by gender, and not really that prevalent in the results that we got. Male and females, their responses and their behavior seemed pretty similar, some slight variances in time online, how much they spend. But generally, male and female customers behave pretty similarly and look for the same things. But things did vary a lot by age. So we all sort of have an idea of our customers and how old we think they are, but how many retailers actually capture gender, date of birth, and then use that when they're trying to market to people? For younger customers, personalization came through on a number of responses: live chat, social customer service. They're the things that the younger customers were looking for. Older customers want nice, simple websites, easy to find things, search refinements, credible reviews. Can they trip over the product they're looking for? They don't want to have it difficult. This online thing is still new to some of them. And they wanted really simple sites where they could find what they were looking for in a quick and easy way. The full detail of these white papers, we've done 2 so far, and we're currently repeating the series to trend year on year. You can download download them from our website. They're pushed out every quarter, these white papers, and they've got the stats that you've seen today and quite a lot more. It's about a 40-page white paper every quarter. Any questions? Yes?
You don't mention mobile, split between mobile.
So on one of the earlier slides, we had the difference between browsing and buying between the different device types.
Okay. Just around things like, sorry. The question around mobile is when you're talking about age difference, I think you'll find that the speed of website and thing can be down to whether they're using mobile. Correct. If they're younger, as opposed to older people not using mobile to purchase.
Yeah, so in the full white paper, there's a breakdown. So one of the earlier slides you saw with the breakdown by device and browsing and buying, that's then broken down further by ages and genders, and you can actually see your younger people are much higher and your older people are slightly less. And speed does come into it in terms of mobile devices, not tablet, desktop, but something they highlight on mobile. So in the full white paper, there's some extra detail behind those bits broken down.
Sorry, Paul, is this more sort of retail as opposed to B2B? Because we find that we've got fairly niche products. We've been on Magento since 2010, but trying to drive traffic through e-commerce is difficult. We do still get a lot of telephone calls, which are then difficult to track.
And bits of paper and post-it notes.
Unfortunately, yeah. So I just didn't know what sort of, the trends. We've heard from many of the guys, we try and build our sites similar to like the retail sites, so the look and feel is there. But it's basically sort of, do you have any trends on the B2B market?
We haven't done a B2B one yet. We are planning to, because Magento has a massive focus on B2B later this year. Some of you would have heard about the roadmap. We are planning to do a separate survey on B2B, but not till later in the year once those features are available. We think it'd be interesting because we speak to a number of B2B retailers who are talking to us more like B2C clients now. They're saying, search is important and, self-serve online and, multi-device user experience. Whereas, historically these brands someone will email it, write it down, post-it note, phone up. They want to speak to the person on the phone. But a lot of the B2B brands we're talking to at the moment talk in B2C language. Now, there are obviously some slight differences, but later in the year, towards the end of the year after the release of the features, we are intending to do a B2B piece, which we think will have some commonality, because we do think there's more commonality now between B2B and B2C, but at the same time, there will be some distinct differences, and one of those surrounds personal service online. A lot of the B2B organizations, they've got an account rep, so what's important in terms of bringing that online? Do they still have that account rep, and how does that person interact with them? So later in the year, hopefully.
Hi. So for the data that you're collecting, all of the data was directly from the 100 retailers that you surveyed?
So the data we collected, we engaged a third-party research company, and they interviewed 1,000 consumers and 100 e-commerce directors in the UK, and they asked them all the same set of questions.
So my real question is related to the difference between self-reporting and like factual evidence that you have, and how because I can say, oh, I prefer this, but then in reality, you look at what my real preference is, and it might not line up with what I think my preference is.
Yeah.
How do you account for that kind of?
That's a good question. So this was very much based around what consumers believe their preferences are, as opposed to statistical information to say what they have done. So there is a piece of work to correlate these results against, this is what you said your preference was, but this is what you actually do. And that's a separate white paper in itself, because we haven't finished it yet. But I think that will throw out some interesting ones, because email was the one that really stood out to us, coming up all the time, people saying, email, this is how I like my offers, this, and we were like, really? It's like, yes, it's important, but to the level it came out, we were really surprised. So what we're doing is, well, if that's the case, why is the conversion through email only this, and so on? Because this is what your users are actually doing. So there's a further piece with the group that we've got to try and work out what's real and what's not. because you are quite right. When you ask people for their preference, sometimes you can get misleading results because they'll express a preference that actually isn't what they really do. Okay? Thank you.